Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Alliance Dealer Solutions panel. Alliance Dealer Solutions provides a full spectrum of automotive services designed to help dealerships thrive. And Ted, their expertise in innovative hospitality focused approaches is really cutting edge.
Sarah, there's that word again. We keep hearing it, hospitality. We want to welcome Brandon Hall, Vice President of Alliance. Brandon, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you very much.
Sarah and I have been watching on social media on the various platforms your people at Alliance who work in dealerships throughout the United States. And I tell you, their stories are very captivating. Congratulations to you on the success you're having. And, an overnight success 30 years in the making.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's going very quickly.
All right, so let's maybe kind of start at the beginning for the audience watching here today. Brandon, tell us, what is Alliance Dealer Solutions? What do you do?
We're a complete source for automotive dealerships in the sense of we really have the approach, and it's not meant to be a knock on dealerships. I think dealerships are great, and their core focus is two things: selling cars and repairing cars. And that they have every right for that to be their main focus. We look to come alongside of them and provide the resources that have a huge impact for them to be successful in that area. So it could be anything from sales and service porters, pickup and delivery drivers, car wash, complete detail integration to their detailing their inventory for new cars and used cars, as well as providing an avenue for them to build up a client base for customer pay detail options for their customers too as well.
Well, Brandon, we're talking today a lot about how hospitality is the new currency for customers today. A lot of customers are looking for that differentiator when they're choosing to interact with a business. So, how does Alliance structure these partnerships with its staffing, management, and the full operations?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the key thing is the hospitality for us, and not just in frontward facing positions with the porters. I mean, I think there's several different ways that you can look at things of the mentality to going into hiring people. A lot of times people think, well, if it's just a car washer, they're in the back of the house and they don't need to have this mentality about them of being good with customers and greeting and speaking to guests. But a lot of that goes into it for us. And so I think our big thing with integrating with the dealerships, a lot of focus for us is in hiring our people. And so we spend a lot of time, we have a dedicated recruiter for the entire company that goes into hiring these people. We're constantly looking for the right people. We're constantly recruiting people, and then having the processes in place to take them through what it means to greet a guest. And not just what it means to greet a guest, but we want them to ask the why. Some people are upset when employees say, well, why do you want us to do that? Or why would you have us do that? I look at it as an opportunity of them not understanding, and we want them to understand the importance of making sure that we're handling the guest in the best way possible for the dealership. And so we have processes and training dedicated in place. We have a dedicated hospitality trainer across our company that works with our employees each and every day, week in and week out, at all the different dealerships across the board.
Wow. Brandon, I know you at Alliance have a culture. Each dealership has its own culture. Each group has its own culture. I mentioned the videos that your employees are featured in on social media. When I watch them, it's almost like I could see they're immersed in the dealership's culture, but it feels like they're employees of the dealership. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. We laugh about it all the time. People, you're out and about and people say, what do you do for a living? And you're trying to explain this to them. And some people just don't get it, because most of the time, when somebody pulls onto the service drive or when somebody's at the dealership, we want them we don't want them to know that it's any different of an employee. So right down to our uniforms are customizable. When somebody pulls into the dealership, they have no reservations in their mind that the employee that they're interacting with is an employee of the dealership. I think that's a great thing for us to provide to them because the customer sees it as being a seamless interaction, that they're not dealing with two different companies, that they're dealing with the dealership itself, and it puts them at ease. I'd like to say that it's easy. And it's easy for me to say that here, but there's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of different people that help put that together.
Brandon, I want to go back a step because one of the things that dealerships often struggle with is this, all of these roles that you're describing, the greeters, porters, all of the individuals that really are doing those behind the scenes tasks that really elevate the customer experience. But dealerships are probably wondering, what's the difference between what Alliance does versus a temp agency? Can you explain, the differences between that?
Absolutely, I think that's a great question. Um, there's a I always am really quick to say this, and I think it's true and prevalent. But years and years ago, if you had a popcorn machine and a coffee machine in your service department, that's kind of what got you, for customers to think, man, they really have it together. And as times are changing, um, we're now seeing dealerships with driving ranges in the back of them for their service customers. We're seeing Starbucks integrated into the dealership for their customers and all these different things. And I think what it boils down to is people, and it's how they're treated after the purchase of a car and throughout their service with their car. A temp agency is literally just a provider of people. They're just placing a warm body there for you, and you're still responsible internally for making sure that person is trained, to make sure that person is cultured to take care of your customers. Where we're integrated with on-site management and area management to make sure that we're meeting with the dealership weekly, every other week, quarterly, monthly, as much as they would like to meet with us, we want to meet with them because we want to know as their needle moves and as their bar moves and what they're looking for the expectations of their guests, that we're hitting those things. We're not this cookie cutter. We know that every dealership's different, and we know that, and we want to have those conversations. I think the great thing for us to be able to bring to our dealerships is we have the luxury of seeing um, tons of dealerships every week across the United States. So sometimes we'll see things at other dealerships that may be a huge benefit to a current dealership from the West Coast to the Midwest. And we're able to bring that up to them, let them try it, and we'll launch it for them and see what works because not everyone's the same. So our people are very much trained. All that relies on us and not on the dealership.
Brandon, that's fascinating. In this space of hospitality, so you've got a fully trained staff that you train that comes to the dealership. You work with things such as being valets, porters, greeters. This way, the dealership can focus on what they do. I imagine. Plus, Brandon, I would imagine when the dealership has their own porters and valets, they probably get pulled off for a lot of other errands and tasks, and they may not be there when it's time to have a greeter or a porter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these aren't positions that are easy to manage. But I think if you really look at the core of what they do,
Right.
um, they are very crucial. I tell people all the time, a customer can come to a dealership, a service customer pulls into the lane, and they can be greeted by somebody that's trained to just say, "Hey, welcome to ABC Motors," or whatever it may be at that time. They can have an excellent um, experience with their service advisor. The technician could perform at an A+ rating, and if the customer does not feel like they were greeted properly upon arrival and upon the departure, it could impact their CSI scores. The manufacturers are still putting a lot of stress and emphasis on the condition of the car and how it was returned to them pertaining to the service wash of the car. Were they greeted promptly upon arrival? Was the ease of use to get them from the service lane to the service advisor precise and easy? Did it make them feel comfortable? You're going to dealerships now where you're pulling in, especially at an auto mall that may have 6 or 7 lanes, and it can be overwhelming. It's no different than maybe going to the mall for the first time, this huge new mall that you're experiencing, and you're trying to find something. So if you have somebody to kind of lead that direction, it's only helping them feel more comfortable, and the customer is going to be more willing to come back.
Brandon, in this entire process, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of dealerships embrace has been, the off-site customer, getting the customer, back to their home or back to their work so they can go about their day. And that gives technicians the opportunity to do what they do best, which is, diagnose the vehicle and have more time to work on all the different things that the vehicle may need and make those recommendations. Can your team support pickup and delivery programs like that?
Absolutely. I think we saw years ago that pickup and delivery, in my mind, is going to be the way of the world in the car business. People are busier than they've ever been, whether it's their own jobs or whether it's their kids and sporting events and such. The days of the service drives have always been, hey, everybody comes in the morning and it's packed. And you push all that work to your technicians, and for 3 or 4 hours, and then you have lunch, and then there's this mass exodus of people from 3 to 6 o'clock in the evening. The reason that you're not able to hone that in and get them to drop off their cars at other times is simply not because they don't want to. It's either ease of use or a scheduling conflict. So if you can figure out a pickup and delivery system that works to get the customers coming in throughout the time period, it's huge for technician capacity, for shop capacity, for loaner car capacity, and all those things. And I think if a customer is able to have their car picked up and delivered to them with no questions, then you open up your schedule to better benefit the service department, the technicians in the shop, helps your CSI score. There's all types of benefits for it. So we're definitely a huge advocate for it. We're a proponent of it. I think we're going to see many, many different uses of it. And I think it opens up dealerships to be able to pull from other markets. So there's that aspect of it too.
Brandon, you help the dealer focus on what they do best, which is service and
Absolutely.
fix cars and sell cars. And you handle, I think, some of the most key points. The early part of the process, making sure the customer is greeted, okay, when they arrive. The cleanliness of the vehicle with detail and car wash that you provide as well, and making sure the customer remembers that. Brandon, how do you measure quality at Alliance for your staff, and how do you supervise your folks and hold them accountable?
Yeah, those are all really, really good questions. I think for the quality standard, there's several different things depending on what function it is. When we typically partner with a dealership, there's usually a reason a dealership wants to partner with us. It's either they feel like they're underperforming in that aspect, they may just be having a hard time recruiting these positions, but typically they want to see improvements. So our big thing with our porters and greeters is to make sure that we're having monthly CSI meetings with them. There's things within the CSI that directly relate to the porter function. And so, as far as measuring the quality on that, we're looking to have a monthly meeting with the dealerships and say, hey, have you seen incremental improvements of the greeting of the guest? What are the questions and answers and responses on the survey as far as the cleanliness of the cars coming out of the car wash? So I think that's one way that we're measuring it for those type positions. As far as the detail positions that we handle when we integrate and take over the detail department, it's a little bit easier and more on us. We have proprietary software that tracks everywhere the car is in the process of detail. And then at the end of that detail, that car is QC'd and it's shown either in green, red, or yellow in the system. So the dealership knows that it went through a QC process. And we make sure that we tell our employees we want our detailers to understand that we're expecting there to be failed QCs. We're not looking for perfection. The QC process is to catch it before the car is put on the lot for sale. So I'm hopeful the QC process becomes a part of our training. So at some dealerships we have dedicated QC people where that's all they're doing is QCing a car. But we're able to take that weekly and evaluate it, and we assign a grade and a score to each detailer that we have at each location, and we're able to go back and coach with that. But the QC is not to dismiss them or document them or disciplinary action. It's to teach them to get better and to let them understand that we have areas for improvement and that we want to catch this before it goes onto the lot. I tell all of our detailers it's the same thing. If we were all three in a room right now painting it white and it was originally brown, we could have the best intentions to make sure we didn't miss a spot. And we've done that all day long. And the first person that came outside of the room and looked in there would say, "Hey, you guys missed a spot." And, we tell our detailers the same thing. They're looking at these cars 3 and 4 hours at a time. They're going to miss something. And when we miss something, it's not meant to be a detriment to you. It's meant to let's catch it before we want the finished product that's going to the dealership to be perfect.
Brandon, a lot of our listeners today, we have, dealerships from across the country, and some of those markets have, seasonal or other, market fluctuations that happen, based on the time of year it is, and who's coming in and out of those areas. So how do you handle, pieces like that with seasonal or market fluctuations that you see?
Yeah, so we adapt to the environment that we're in. I think that's key. I've heard and I know the struggles that go into recruiting people and the onboarding and exit of people. You have some towns that are really big on hiring college students when they're out for the summer, but you have to be prepared for that and you have to be able to utilize them in certain areas. I think for us at Alliance, our dedicated ability to have a dedicated recruiter to our company is key in that area. But we're also looking for stability because it's proven time and time again. If you treat these porter positions and greeter positions and car wash positions and detailer positions as people that you don't want to see as this rotating door, you want to see the longevity of the employee because it makes the customer feel better. The product starts becoming better and better every year that the employee's there. So we're looking at all those things. It's not to say that we won't use college labor because I think that is huge to develop the employee and the person and for their benefit in their career. But we've also seen it work out for us too as well because somebody starts working for us as a porter or as a car washer while they're in college. And then when they're finishing college, they're coming to us onboarded as a manager or could be an area manager or regional manager. So the growth impact for this to become a true career for them is huge. So we're really adapting to each dealership. Each market's very different with that. But having a dedicated recruiter for our company is really, really beneficial. We're constantly hiring.
Brandon Hall is vice president of Alliance Dealer Solutions. They work with dealers in many, many states, and they help dealers with a lot of the tasks that are mundane and daily, that's so critical to the functionality of the dealership, including things like greeting, porters, valets, service pickup and delivery, wash and detail. Um, Brandon, so when a a dealer or a general manager or a fixed ops service used car manager watching today, uh, knows they've heard about this type of thing from their peers, maybe in 20 groups. Um, how do they go about reaching out to you? How do they, I imagine they're going to have questions, right, about their
Yeah, absolutely.
operation and how this would affect them. I mean, are you available to answer those? How does this work? How do dealers reach out and take that next step?
Absolutely. So we are a big proponent of being able to be super transparent and be able to get a hold of us. They can go to our website, alliancedealersolutions.com. There is a link in there to schedule a meeting. It will come directly to me. One of the things that I'm also a super big proponent of is to have a free consultation, to sit down if you want it 30 minutes or 60 minutes just to talk to us about what's going on. And it's not necessarily that you have to use our services. I think I get super excited to see where the car business is going and for there to be transparency and to change people's mind, because sometimes the perception is that you get customers that just don't have the trust and the belief in the dealership world. And we want that to change across the board, whether that's you're partnering with us or you decided to do it internally. I think having a conversation with us and being able to discuss these things is the right starting point.
Excellent.
Alliance Dealer Solutions, some of the best dealers in the country work with them, and Brandon Hall is the vice president. You can reach him at the email scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Also on the web, alliancedealersolutions.com. Sarah, I see this era of hospitality growing and growing and growing in importance because it helps the dealer focus on what they do best.
It does, Ted. And Brandon, thank you for sharing your expertise. I know there's going to be an exciting time ahead in 2026 as hospitality continues to make waves and take a bigger stage.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Brandon, dealers now are making their plans, not just for the fourth quarter, but for the new year. Okay. Everybody reach out to Brandon at Alliance Dealer Solutions. Brandon, if it's okay, Sarah and I would like to invite you back on the next roundtable, which will be before the big convention at the in out in New Orleans, I think in early February, and maybe talk a little bit more about this, and maybe even hear from some of the dealers and some of your people, because I think that's very impressive as well.
Absolutely.
So, if you don't mind, we'd like to have you come back and take this up a couple notches.
Looking forward to it.
Everybody, Brandon Hall with Alliance Dealer Solutions here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.